Alright, so here we are with another build installment of the RC10 Worlds car from Associated. This time around we've done Bag E, which is most of the rear end suspension components. So all we've done so far is attach the suspension arms and install the suspension pivots. And assemble the CVDs, which are, I'm very sure, are new to the kit, and get the ball joints on the uprights, and of course install the uprights onto the rear arms. So that's what it looks like. It's a bit floppy at the moment because we haven't made the turnbuckles, which to me is a pivotal point in the kit build, because you don't have to keep holding everything in place. So you can see everything just kind of just flopping around at the moment. But anyway, yeah, we're nearly there. Once we do the turnbuckles, there's front and rear. I think there's 6 to make, and we'll be doing the shocks afterwards. Not too much stuff to be on the watch out for here. One thing I did use was a good pair of plastic clippers, which you don't need to do. You can just snap off the plastic pieces, the sprue pieces, but what I would definitely suggest is to use a hobby knife and to, on the insides of the suspension arms, so where they're obviously where they're mounted closest to the chassis. Just use a hobby knife, and if you can see that flash there, if the camera will focus, if you can see that flash there, you can just scrape that away, or even just use some sandpaper or an emery board or something like that, because the clearance between, and this is not a problem, it's just something that you have to watch out for when you're building kits, is the clearance between the suspension arms and the pivots is so tight that, I mean, this is a scalpel, and you can't even fit that scalpel in the opening there. You can maybe get, sorry about that little feline interruption, but you cat owners will understand. Anyway, like I was saying, you need to make sure that you trim away the just the little sprue bits that are left in there, so that if you don't, just let you know, you might get a weird notchy feeling when you pivot the suspension bits, and that will be why, is because the bits of plastic or on the suspension arm are rubbing up against the suspension mount. So just make sure that's not going to happen. The other thing to make sure is that the manual tells you to put the mounting screws in the forward holes. Make sure you do that on both sides. I remember when I built this initially, I had 2 different wheelbases, one on either side. So make sure that's just, it's not a danger point obviously, but just you don't want to be out on the track for the first time and wonder why your car is wanting to steer more in one direction than the other. What else is there? When you're assembling the CVDs, or CVAs or CVDs, well, they call them both, you can use the set screws that come with the car, with the kit, and the set screws that hold in the cross pin on the actual drive shaft. Or you can use, you have the option of using the spring retainers, spring pin retainers. Obviously, if you use the set screws, make sure you use some Loctite. Blue is fine. You don't need to do anything more sturdy than that. And both sides are threaded, so that it's easy enough to get to. I decided just skip it and just stick with the retainers. The manual has you put some CA glue in there, just to hold the actual spring retainers in place. And what else is there? The you get 3 spacers for each side that go inside the or on the actual axle before you put it through. I thought I only had 2 for one side, 3 for the other, but they're very, very, very thin spacers. So just rub them between your fingers if you think you're missing any, and you'll probably be fine. And the manual doesn't tell you, but I put thread lock on the back end of that ball end, just to hold this screw in place. I'm not sure why they have you use the screw there anyway, because it's the plastic of the upright's going to grip the ball end in place enough, probably. But whatever. I went ahead and did that anyway. So I did the same thing on the front end there. Yeah. So the next step is to open up bag F and, well, get the rest of the turnbuckles up, because like I said, the bag, I think it was bag B or C, didn't have this turnbuckle, and I had to open bag F already. So anyway, that's fine. So next step, building several turnbuckles, which I'm not going to be all that big a fan about, but it's got to be done. So we'll see you in the next installment.